What's good? What's happening? Let me see if I can bring Stephanie up in here. Agazi, what's up, Denver? See Brooklyn's in the house.
Welcome to mi casa. Check
Hey,
out.
oh, check that out. Okay.
Yeah, Zapata, and then my partner's dad or grandpa's there. Check it out.
Oh, that's dope. All I have is Marshawn Lynch. You see that?
Hey, because there's some Oakland. You talk about being from
Because
Oakland in
I'm
there.
from
So
Oakland. So, beast mode. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Sabine?
who's on?
Mark Villa. I like this. Look at this. Great, beautiful people. That is what's up. All right. So, I just released this ebook called Self Love, A Revolution of the Heart.
Yes.
I love it. I'm going to recite one of my poems from it. And then after that, we can just get into it. We're going to just talk. It's me and Stephanie go back. So, like, even our stories and, like, who we are, like, it's great.
Yep.
All right. So, I'm just going to recite this real quick.
All right, let's go. I'm ready.
So, this poem is called Underground King. And I wrote it basically to be like a go-to poem whenever I just don't feel confident in myself. So I'm an underground king, running fast like Harriet. King of the city, speeding past in an all-gold chariot. I got the world on my back. Don't worry, I can carry it. Success tastes better than fresh bacon wrapped asparagus. Life is simple, mind, body, soul. I'm the water and the clay, maker of my mold. No longer a slave, so I cannot be sold. Oh, I'm the best king around. 6 feet of gold. See my passions, talents, skills. I'm a walking inspiration. I give my best every day, the greatest compensation. So the greatest fact to say, I didn't hold back today. I gave my all, I rose up, I overpowered the fray. See, I'm the master of my fate. I'm focused all the way. And from this righteous path to God, I'll never go astray.
I just want to, I'm sure people at home right now are also feeling it, the snaps or the claps,
Yeah.
whatever you feel most
If you like it,
comfortable
throw
with.
some snaps. Just type
Snaps.
snaps.
We'll
Yeah.
feel some snaps.
Yeah.
So, I
Should have
mean,
said that.
I've heard this live before. I've heard this live, and I have sensed the energy in the space shift when they hear not only you speak in the way that you do about your dream and your vision, but the way that you talk about. I think this poem specifically has your story. You're telling your story. You're taking ownership of your story. And so when I started, maybe we can kick it off here. Talk a little bit about, the inspiration behind the book. What inspired you to write these poems and also release it at the time where we are now, right? Like why now?
Wow. So I've been writing these poems for like 6 years. The reason that I've been writing these poems for 6 years, and it's crazy to me to even think that, even say that, but it's like a combination of like depression, lack of self-worth, seeing myself being less than, and trying to remind myself that I'm special, I'm unique, I'm royal priesthood. Like God set me here for a purpose. I'm not nothing, right? And I have moments where I would devalue my accomplishments, my journey, where I came from, and be like, well, so Steph's from Inglewood, like she made it to college, like she made it to get her career, like right. So I'm like, all right, people do this. I was like, we make it out the hood. We do anything that we want to do. We have come far. And then I'm like, well, the history behind it is further than that, deeper than that, and I have to remind myself of that. So I write poems like Underground King because I'm just like, yo, Harriet Tubman, like I'm an underground king, like Harriet, king of the city, speeding past in an all-gold chariot. Like she didn't have an all-gold chariot running from the south to the north. Like if I come from a lineage and a history and a power that's something that's like that, how dare I think that my journey is not achievable? If I come from people like Harriet Tubman, not saying that like I'm blood related to her or anything, just the fact that she's a black slave who went freed herself, went back and got some more, and then freed some more, and then went back and got some more. and said that she could only free them more if they knew they were slaves. And people like you and I, as soon as we find a golden nugget, we try to get everybody to figure out like how they can also get to that golden nugget. So for me, that was like when I went to college, I had to go back to like LACES, Crenshaw, teach students how to get to college. That was like my underground pathway because I knew nothing better than getting scholarships and going to school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that takes us back to how we really ended up getting connected, right? It was really a connection around our purpose, aligning very much so the energy around what we do and the work that we do. And you and I have had the privilege of sharing space together, right? Of really having conversations about mental health, about talking about the power of sharing our story and taking ownership and sharing that, you know, yes, Inglewood could be up to no good, but we're up to a lot of good too, right?
Yeah,
and really being, you know, sharing and elevating the stories of resilience and grit and of empowering other people to see their own true power. And so I think right now, one of the things that I feel, and I'm sure a lot of people who are joining us here too, is this sense of lack of control, this anxiety that we might be feeling, this, you know, my worth is set in productivity a lot of the times, especially for me, like, you know, I've been like output, like, what can I produce? How do I get here? How do I get to the next place? This is forcing us to sit, to be still, to think and reflect. And for me, in reading, you know, a lot of the poetry that you shared, that's a lot of what it made me do. It made me reflect and think about me, where I am, how my identity shows up, how I support others, how others support me, important to me. What have been for you some of the mentors or mentors that have really came back and inspired you too, that have given you those tools and resources, and how have you seen that manifest in your poetry?
Yeah. So I guess that answers kind of like the last question too, where I didn't really talk about why I released it at this time. But to focus on that, releasing the poetry now and realizing that there's so much internal work that has to go on the inside that I really felt like it was important to write poetry for my own journey and then to share it now so that other people can also take that in, because I think right now is a time where we're forced to be by ourselves a lot more, or just isolated in our families. And I think that it can either drive us crazy or it can be useful for us. Truth, we're human, so we'll probably have a little bit of both. I'm having both. And I think this is just a good time for internal work to really dive inside. And I think it can be taxing sometimes. And I think sometimes if we can just share, right, it's easier to look at someone else's life and critique that and analyze that. And then use that as a reason to dive within. So I figured, why not share my poetry, right? And like sacrifice my story for critique, whether people take it as good or bad. Like if I can encourage the conversation with self, I've done a good job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're kind of pivoting into what I wanted to go into, which was your poetry, and really dive into some of the conversations that I think you sparked for me in reading it. The first one, I think, just first of all, your intro is dope in that it talks a little bit about that why. It talks a little bit about why and you talk a lot about this, right? Like mental health and being good within yourself before you give love to other people. And I saw that echoed as a theme. So you say we need to take care of our souls. And that was deep, because I want to talk a little about what taking care of your soul looks like, and our mental health first, and find ways to express ourselves. And so I feel like what I want to pick your brain around, like, how do you take care of your soul? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. Well, I want to shout out Sabine and Amir, who are talking about internal work. I see that. So like that's definitely on point. Azani saying, do we get any more performances?
Yes.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yes.
I'm gonna read a little bit, and I'm definitely finishing off with a poem.
Yep.
that I know just as well as the first one that I did. So, okay. I'm sorry, Stephanie. Can you say your question again?
Yeah, I just want to talk about what does taking care of your soul looks like, because you start the book, you start the poetry off with your intro talking about taking care of your soul. And I think a lot of people have been thinking about this as they're at home. How do I take care of myself? But more deeper, your soul, which I think is sometimes an existential way out there thing that we don't really, how do we do that? What is it that you're doing, or you think that are some tools that you can share?
Yeah, definitely. Somebody from Inglewood just hopped on.
Hey.
Yeah, they're gonna love it. Show them your sweater.
I know, I gotta
They're a real one. They'll throw a wave out there. Okay. So what okay, so I'm sorry, I forgot the question again.
Yeah. Okay. All right, taking care of your soul. How do we
taking care of your soul? What is taking care of your soul? So taking care of your soul. Whoo. Okay. So there are a couple of general things, and then I'll say one personal thing. So a total of 3 things. Okay. So the first general thing is internal compass. The second the second thing I'll say about your soul is your imagination gap. So which is basically the difference between where you are and where you feel like you could be. Right? So your potential. And then the third one for me is going to be Christianity.
Ooh.
Right? Which so I have to answer the first question, right? And the second question and then the third question. So for me, Christianity gives me a structured, organized way to be able to express my soul. Which I feel like taking care of my soul, when I think about my potential is like, okay, I have something in me that really tells me how I am, like what I can be. Right? A lot of times this can give people anxiety because they feel like they're not who they could be.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like my internal compass comes in. That kind of tells me like, hey, like you're on track, or hey, you need to do this. Right? Like, it can be as basic as I haven't eaten any vegetables and I feel like it's time for me to eat vegetables. Like, o'clock is like, when was the last time you ate a salad? And I'm like, I don't remember. Like, I should eat a salad, right? And then I overeat some salad, which is like a real life example that happens. And then you have like deeper things where I might be able to be like, okay, I need to like really sit here with myself. And have an internal conversation, whether that's meditation, that's prayer, that's just talking, really to myself. Maybe that's calling people, and what I would say is completing conversations. So there's a lot of people that that to be honest, I had to do this. I had to call my parents and call them and tell them, hey, like, I love you. You did a great job. All because I had to learn how to be authentic, to love my whole self, which because of my self-love, I had the capacity to pour onto my parents.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have felt the need to do that, right? If I didn't listen to my internal kind of like this like general internal compass that I have, this internal compass.
Yeah. How many people that are, I'm curious, how many people that are currently listening? Yeah. Are y'all feeling this internal compass? Have you guys, how do you guys feel about the internal? Sounds like some other people have joined us. Hello, new people. So we have somebody that says self-love into being able to give love. Yeah. So you talk a lot about that, right? You talk, especially love yourself, which is, why don't we stop right now, since, some people have joined us recently. I'd love for you to do a reading of a snippet or a full reading of a snippet of your new poetry.
Okay. What I'll do is I will read Love Yourself.
All right.
Because a lot of people really like Love Yourself. And
I loved it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm biased. I love them all. So, so Love Yourself, which was inspired by the desire to love. I used to hate being alone because I was scared of being alone. I saw my family members never in a long-term love zone. Wish they dropped love bombs. Obama sent the drones. Was I being my best self or a half-fulfilled clone? I knew I was broken, but blamed coworkers because I was a token. Everyone played a part except he who was unspoken. A pure victim I was to everyone else. I'm not Michael B. Jordan, The Rock, or whoever else. How can I find love when I'm far from the best? I need to get buff, make money, and pass the test of life, her love, and whatever tests are left. To marry my best, I have to be my best. Life's true test. I went to church and Pastor Torre said, you need wholeness. Two halves, not whole, put together still yields brokenness. Understanding who you really are is trueness. Living out your destiny, a soul's desire yields fullness.
Wow.
I looked my woman in her eyes. She knew it was true. Rather than face my own fears, I'd rather face you. Blame the relationship for what's already been true. Rather than look in the mirror, I choose to blame you. She says, you don't seem happy. What's wrong, my king? Nothing's wrong. I say it's not a big thing. She says, what thing might this be to have you wearing a frown? I'm not whole, my queen. Fool's gold makes my crown.
Ooh.
She says, how can this be? You're handsome as can be. Success has begun to bear fruit from its tree. You're doing better at twice the rate according to your family. You're the best man I've ever dated. You're perfect to me. And I had to say, but I am not perfect to me. And I lean on you for love. Instead, my love should come from inside and up above. I love your love, but it will never be enough. I have open wounds in my soul. It's time to handle this stuff. We can live together broken and be the best we can be. Our relationship will have issues because of you and me. Issues that stem from brokenness of individuality, not the love we really need to build a family. So I'm going to leave this relationship because it's best. I won't drown in your love without a life's vest. Security in myself and a spiritual core I have put to the test. So understand that for us, I have no more love left. I want to love myself and take trips alone. I want to be happy in my own love zone. Keep your love bombs, Obama. I'm going to drop my own because my love is now whole. I'm in the love zone. I've journeyed the world and discovered my best me. The one that doesn't care about what you say to me. The one that... Sorry, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what happened?
Wow. I have not, yeah. Okay. So I've journeyed the world and discovered my best me. The one that doesn't care about what you say to me. A lover or a hater, it doesn't matter to me. All I need is me and some G-O-D. Now my walk is a bit smoother. Not uptight, but a bit looser. Free-forming like a juicer. I've turned my lemons into lemonade. Everywhere I go, I have wholeness. No longer am I clueless. I understand myself, so that's trueness. Living my best life, that's fullness. Are you whole or are you broken? Can you handle stress or are you always joking? Do you love yourself or are you hoping someone else drops you in the love you're whole in? I'll say it again. Listen carefully, my friend. Are you whole or are you broken? Can you handle stress or are you joking? Do you love yourself or are you hoping someone else drops you in the love you're whole in? Sincerely, self-love.
We saw a lot of snaps, fires, bars go up in the comments. Any reactions from folks or any questions that y'all have and want to pick Miles's brain? Ooh, sheesh, yes. I see it. Man, I mean, that entire poem took me through a roller coaster. Yeah, damn, right? Like, I feel like we've all been there. We've all been in a place, in a piece of it where you talk a little bit about, you know, you're in a relationship with somebody and you might care and love them, but you yourself feel like you have a lot of work to do before you can pour onto somebody else. And so I was like, woo, yes. Like the difficulty of the growth of being able to say, this isn't for me right now. I need to work on myself. To me is a beautiful thing to come into. That's the best poem. Hey, we got best poems in here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I love that.
Okay, I love that.
I love that too. You talk a little bit about that. I pulled out a couple of things in here that I thought were really powerful. One of them is, how could I find love when I'm far from the best? Right? How could I find love when I'm far from the best? What are some of the ways that has helped you understand who you are to become a better person, to then be able to commit to somebody?
I had to go from the best to my best.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to really start competing with me. Like, that's why I think right after that I say, like, I'm not Michael B. Jordan, The Rock, or whoever else, right?
Yeah.
I just started naming the guys that are usually like just put at the top of every like woo girl conversation, right?
Yeah.
So, from my sisters to my to my homegirls to my friends to just random conversations, and I had to stop competing with like the idea of these like men. Right. I had to start competing with me. I had to be confident in who I am, which gave me a confidence that I don't think I've ever really had before, because it allows me to be authentically me. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like, I am like doing my best. Like 2020 has been rough, but it looks like it's a little better than 2019 in some ways. Right. In some ways not, but in a lot of ways, I've seen stuff as far as me and my own self-love. Right.
You got a question here too around if you can go more into the idea of finding love despite imperfection or flaws.
Okay. So, I think I have to be authentic enough to work on my flaws. Which requires me to be authentic enough to discuss my flaws, which might be some of my fears that, like, hey, like when you say
routine is going to be conducive to me feeling good, right?